good evening, everyone. Here we are. We are 101 days into the golden age, a new golden age of corruption, lies, tariff madness, Doge incompetence, a golden age of undermining the Constitution, slashing our federal workforce, attacking our national parks, scientific research, higher education, women's health, DEI, and history itself. The new golden age in which an American president trashes our beloved neighbor Canada, alienates our allies, and takes sides with the dictator Vladimir Putin. What a time. And to top it off, the liar-in-chief is now selling access to the White House with his own crypto coin. This blatant in-your-face corruption begs the question for every single elected Republican across the country. Are you really okay with this? Do you really endorse this corruption? For every single elected Republican, if you do not, you are obligated to speak out now. The offices you hold at every level, national, state, and local, carry that obligation, because the effect of this corruption, this economic madness, these attacks on our federal workforce, our Social Security, and the FDA, this tidal wave of BS affects us everywhere locally. We want to know from all our elected officials their position on some very specific questions. We want to know whose side are you on, because silence is not an option. Silence is complicity. When Donald J. Trump pardoned and released violent criminals who had assaulted police officers on January 6th, I asked our state representative and our state senator if they supported that release. I did not receive a reply, so I asked again and again. And to this day, I have yet to receive an answer to that question. Why in the world would this be difficult to answer? Since February, Rock This Democracy has invited our state representatives to speak at our events, or at least send a written statement in response to the concerns we all share. I did receive a letter last week from State Senator Tony Hwang, but that letter was incomplete in its generality, offering only a record of past statements. So we wrote to both Senator Hwang and our state representative, Mitch Belinsky, again this week with 5 questions, saying that I would share their reply or lack of reply at this rally. Unfortunately, we have not received a reply. I want to share these questions tonight and publicly request a reply from our representatives, as I believe that is part of their job. Question number 1. Representative Belinsky and Senator Hwang, do you agree with the Constitution that due process applies to all persons in the United States, regardless of their immigration status? Question 2. Do you endorse the manner in which Doge has so recklessly cut the federal workforce? This has affected many veterans, by the way. Question 3. Do you have any criticism of how that Doge process has occurred? Question 4. Do you endorse or refute the false statements about Social Security put forth by Donald J. Trump, as in 150-year-old people receiving checks? And lastly, question 5, do you endorse the release of violent J6 rioters who assaulted the police at the Capitol on January 6th? There you go. I understand that state-level representatives prefer to focus on local and state issues. In this case, however, silence is no longer an option. The leader of their party is provoking the need to ask about these issues, which are definitely affecting us locally. And this means their voice as public servants is that much more important at this time. So tonight, I ask you all to please join us in a simple action. On the front page of our website, rockthisdemocracy.org, there's a big black button that says Call to Action. Click on it, and it brings you to the 5 questions along with contact info for Representative Belinsky and Senator Hwang. Just copy and paste the questions into a letter or make a phone call. Let's get their answers on record. I know it's tempting to say, who cares what they think? But let's not overlook the significance of the office they hold, which, by the way, is our office, for which we pay taxes. And as their constituents, we will get them on the record on these points, because silence is no longer an option. Silence is complicity. And as they have not seen fit to reply in time for you to hear tonight, despite having plenty of time to do so, we must assume for now that, absent any statement to the contrary, Representative Mitch Belinsky and Senator Tony Hwang are 100% A-OK with the entire Trump fiasco so far. Defiance of court orders, the blatant corruption. It appears that our senator and representative are fully on board with the illegal accessing of our financial data, denial of due process, firing of veterans, the release of violent criminals, and fully on board with all the actions and policies of the liar-in-chief, the criminal, racist, sociopathic, narcissist, oath violator, Donald J. Trump. And if that is not the case, please correct me now. Let us know. Senator Hwang and Representative Belinsky, we welcome any clarification you may yet offer, because silence is not an option. Silence is complicity. Silence is complicity. Silence is complicity. Silence is complicity. And we will not be silent in the face of the threat posed by authoritarian actions of Donald J. Trump, a threat further evidenced this week in Oklahoma, as a young mother and her 2 young daughters, an innocent family of American citizens, was terrorized and traumatized by a home invasion in the middle of the night by a large team of ICE and FBI security forces who took all their money, took their phone and computer, and before leaving with their stolen items, they claimed, oh, we had the wrong house. Who is responsible for this incompetence? Or was it deliberate? Who knows? We must ask, because silence is not an option. Silence is complicity. Silence is complicity. That's right. And let's not be silent about the good news either, because there is good news. Trump's approval rate is in the golden toilet. The courts are pushing back, and the Supreme Court as well. Americans are mobilizing. Our resistance is strong. We have elections in 18 months on the federal level, and we must ensure the integrity of the midterm elections. Do you agree? So do I. So in closing, I want to say I am frankly a bit concerned about statistical anomalies that have been documented in the vote tabulation results in swing states in the 2024 election. I support a hand recount in 1 or 2 counties to ensure that these anomalies are not evidence of some deeper technical problem. Election Truth Alliance. Election Truth Alliance is doing excellent work in this area. I urge you to go to their website, electiontruthalliance.org, and look at the analysis of statistical evidence they have compiled. The integrity of the midterms is critical. A hand recount is reasonable and protects us all. Thank you for all for being here tonight as we look forward to our next community dialogue with open mic, where any of you could get up here and say something.